introduced to our province. We no longer have the walrus, and below we have the hearts, and you can tell a lot of the lifestyle of the Maritime Arcade Indians. They were able to determine that these people were hunters and gatherers. They came here for the resources. They hunted the animals. They gathered the berries, quite possibly the edible plants or things. And they were able to determine this from historical science that was probably used to look into the ground. They hunted the animals. You'll see here the different styles of tools that they used. One of the main tools of the Maritime Arcade Indians was the talking harpoon. And you can see by the sketch on the back how this would have been assembled. And we were able to determine that these people were able to cut down trees, to peel the bark from them, as well with this combination axe and gouge, they were able to gouge out the larger trees and make boats. Quite possibly the smaller one was used to make wood bowls. This is the actual size of a house depression from Philip's Garden. Dr. Priscilla Runoff is gone. She removed everything from Philip's Garden, reconstructed it here at our visitor center. We've had a painting done by Bill Ritchie, and he went to Greenland and he lived in one of those houses here to my right to get a feel for how to set the color scheme and the atmosphere. So we're showing you an archaeological point of view from Philip's Garden, as well as what one of the Paleo Eskimo houses may have looked like. They would go down, and like I said, I'm not going to get into explain the house depression. We'll do that at Philip's Garden. Indians were around 47, 48, women were around 45, 46. The men were around 5'6", 5'7", women were around
There are properties that have both lobster boats and fish as well.
I'm not even going to try and come close to that one. But the Paleo-Eskimo people, the Grosswater and the Dorset people, the main reason that these people came here was to harvest the harp seals. And at Philip's Garden, when the archaeologists examined the garbage heaps or the middens at Philip's Garden, they found that upon thousands of animal bones that were uncovered out there, 97% of them did consist of the seals. And that happens right off here. Even today, the seal fishery here is still quite good. And this past spring, in March and April, we had one of the richest seal fisheries that have taken place here in our history on the Northern Peninsula that fishermen can remember back for quite some time, probably the last 50, 60 years in history. There was fishermen here in Port of Swab, as I was telling this gentleman over lunch, this past year, in about 2.5 to 3 weeks, cleared about $40,000 of fishermen. So it was really a good seal fishery here this year. And if you think about it, the fishermen that are in Port of Swab today came here for the resources, the same as 2,800 years ago when the Paleo-Eskimo people came here. And that's why I came here, it was for the resources. My husband is a fisherman, and he came here to fish, and that's why we settled here. That's where there's a net there.
Oh,
that's a net there, yes. Probably for the hearing.
So if you grow in the green,
Probably delays because your motor's down in the water. Will probably caught in the radiator. 100 years. At that time, the land was rebounding a little more rapidly than what it is rebounding today. And these people would come out close to the shoreline. And the reason they would come to keep building their houses out close to the shoreline is that, as I said earlier, they came here to harvest the harp seals.
Oh, and wild strawberries are Wonderful.
Here, look. Look, the sap. Right as you're coming into Phillips Garden, there are a couple of plum boys that are quite clear that you can see. And just right here we have the wild strawberries, and the Paleo-Eskimo people would have had access to those as well. This plaque here deals with the house depressions that are in Phillips Garden.
Okay.
And I see you're all batting. That's because of the flies. This little meadow here is enclosed in trees. And we believe that when the Paleo-Eskimo people were here in the wintertime, if for some reason they had to stay over in the summer, maybe they had to go to Cowhead and collect chert, maybe get red ochre, or maybe they just didn't leave early enough with the ice for whatever reason, if they were here in the summertime, we believe that they would have moved out to the light station. And there's no trees at the light station, probably a little more comfortable living conditions, less flies, a little bit more wind, and they would have removed themselves from this area. And we'll do so in about 20 minutes. How's that? You know, on this plaque here, we deal with the plaque permanent as the Paleo-Eskimo people. These people came in for a very short period of time, maybe for 2 or 3 weeks, maybe a month, and their houses were more tent-like structures on the surface of the ground. And when the archaeologist was here, they just removed the sod, and all of the end blades and the artifacts were just below the sod, which indicated tent-like structures. Very short time, they harvested a few seals, packed up, and moved out very quickly. And I'll show you some that haven't been excavated. This is one of the first house depressions that was excavated here at Phillips Garden. It was excavated by Dr. Elmer Hart when he came here in the 1949. It was the first time he came here, and in the early 50s. And I just noticed in this house depression here, we have an orchid growing.
Oh, wow.
It's called a bog candle, this orchid is. And within this little park area of Port of Squaw, we have 149 different species of plants. 49 of them are rare or endangered. So we do have a lot of different wildflowers. And like I said, this is the one here. 11, when he came here, the pile of soil that he removed from this house depression is the mound that you see right behind you here. But what the Paleo-Eskimo people, when they came here, they would decide where they were going to put the house to in the middle. So they quite possibly came in through here and said, okay, I'm going to build my house here. And another guy put his there. And there probably would have been approximately around 10 houses here at any one given spring here at Phillips Garden, with an average of probably around 50 to 60 people, give or take a few either way. They would come into the garden, they would push all of the soil back, make a depression down into the ground. And you folks here are standing on what we refer to as the perimeter bench in the house depressions. The reason these people would go down into the ground would be to break the draft. It's a very cold time of year, in the spring of the year, very strong winds, so they would go down into the ground to break the draft. In the middle of the house depression here, they would have the fire pit. Some cases the fire pit would run right through the middle of the house, and we'll see that as we're going up here to another one. Maybe the reason for this would be 2 families in a house, one on each side of the fire pit. Maybe it had to do with females on one side and males on the other. But a few interesting facts about the house depressions here at Phillips Garden was that we found that all of the doorways in the house depressions face the shoreline. Quite possibly the reason for that was they came here to harvest the harp seals, and rather than have to stand outside in the cold, very strong winds, and in, like I said, harsh conditions, they could sit inside in their houses and every now and again open the flap or the door, if you will, and look out and see when the harp seals would go by, and then they would be able to go out and hunt them quite successfully.
Pushed it from, it folded the bedrock that was in front of it into sort of these big sweeping curves. And the top of each of those curves forms the ridges that the forest is now on. And